Go ahead, Mark.
All right, welcome everybody. Today is our March 18 CBLS meeting. We are still in virtual meeting mode. We have, before we get much further down into the agenda, just a quick reminder, which I'm going to do the exact same thing. Put your phones on mute or silence so that we don't have interruption. If you can keep yourself on mute when you're not speaking, that will avoid people speaking over each other and make a much better record for all those. And let's see, with that, when we do votes, Adrian will do a roll call for us all. And why don't we get started with the very first roll call, Adrian?
You got it. Acosta,
Here.
Hammersmith, Lee,
Present.
Lester,
Present.
Levy, Vance,
Present.
Yoon.
Here.
Thank you. We have enough members. That's quorum.
There we are. Great. Okay. Got our roll call going. So next up is our call for public comment. We would be taking public comment from those joining us today. Is there anybody out there in the public who has something they would like to bring forward?
I do see two people. I'm gonna.
Anybody raising their hand? You see anybody raising hands, Adrian?
I do not.
Okay. Well, we will then move on, given that we don't have any public comments today. So I guess next up, we get into the consent portion of our calendar. Is that right?
Yes, please.
And that's going to be the approval of the minutes from our December 17, 2021 board meeting. If you take time to review the minutes, and Adrian, I did note that in item G of those minutes, the very first paragraph, we somehow repeated what was in paragraph F. So probably want to eliminate that. Bullet point 1 under G is the exact same thing as the bullet point above in F.
On the public meeting minutes?
Yeah. So G is the work plan initiatives. And then you got 2 bullet points below it. The first one is a repeat of what we just had voted on at number F. At least in the one that I just printed out off the.
Let me open it up on the screen. I'm not seeing that. Sorry about that, everyone. All right, so on the agenda, the open minutes.
So scroll down. Here we go. So you see F there, all right? On motion, right?
Correct.
That's repeated there at that next bullet point. Isn't that?
Oh,
Or do
you're
we
right.
have-
I will.
Yeah.
That looks like a typo.
Okay. Let me pull up the Word doc so we can fix that. And then we can vote on the corrected one.
Right.
wording was. Sorry about that, everyone. Give me a
No,
moment.
that's okay. Hey, somebody was paying attention.
Yeah.
And then Michael, because you weren't there for the last meeting, it's a reminder that you won't vote on any of the motions if it goes back to something from last time.
Yes, sounds good to me.
The wording is, where'd you go? Here we go.
So I think that whole bullet point goes. Unless there was a second part to that that I don't remember.
There were two parts.
Ah, got it. Okay.
There we go. Sorry about that.
That's much better.
Any other comments or edits to this?
Now it all makes sense to me. So as these minutes have now been revised, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Natalie. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Natalie Vance's made the motion. Do I have a second?
This is Norma, second.
Second by Acosta. And Adrian, if you would kindly take roll, please.
You got it. Acosta,
Yes.
Hammer. Oh, sorry. Lee,
Abstain, I believe.
Lester,
Aye.
Vance,
Yes.
Yoon.
Abstained.
That is
And I
enough
see
votes.
Jeff down there. Is Jeff still in court? So he's not
No,
participating?
I'm here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Were
I
you here
joined
for
a
the
few minutes ago.
Hammerschmidt for the
Yes.
minutes? Thank you. That is enough votes. The minutes are approved
As revised.
as revived. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. That takes care of our consent portion of the calendar. We're going to move on to item number 3, and that's staff reports for an update on the 2021-22 CBLS appointments. Adrian, if you'd take over.
Of course. So we do have joining with us today, new member, Michael D. Lee. He's a bankruptcy certified specialist out of San Jose. He was approved by the Board of Trustees at their January meeting. Michael's term began immediately upon approval, and it will end in 2025. In addition to that, the State Bar is currently recruiting for one vacancy for the upcoming 2022-2023 State Bar year. And that would be to replace Mark, whose term ends this year.
Okay. Next up, item B is going to be the update on the CBLS 2022 work plan. For that, Anna, would you take over?
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. I will be providing an update on the 2022 work plan. To start, all sub-entity work plans will go to the May-July BOT meeting, depending on whether the board adopts the strategic plan at its meeting next week. Next, as far as updates regarding the privacy law consulting group, we will begin recruiting, and in consultation with the CBLS officers, we are seeking practitioners, judges, and others with expertise in the proposed area, as well as business experts. The consulting group will consist of 13 members, including one, but up to 2 non-attorney members. Next, we have the new legal specialist examination banking solution. Staff has met with the system provider, and we hope to complete build for the next development cycle. A further update will be provided during the closed session as it relates to exam questions development and management. Next, we will be researching the impact of the remote exam. Staff has created a survey to send to the 456 applicants, and pending review, it will be sent to the applicants in the following weeks. We hope to have those findings by the next CBLS meeting. Staff also continues to explore marketing opportunities. Staff has been participating in the ABA Standing Committee on Specialization roundtable meetings, where the main focus of discussions have been on marketing strategies. One of our very own officers, Mark, sits on the ABA Specialization Marketing Subcommittee. Both Audrey and Adrian will be actually attending the National Specialization Roundtable meeting in May as panelists. Lastly, we are working on procuring and retaining subject matter experts. This year, we plan to restart recognizing certification milestones. Staff will issue CBLS lapel pins that indicate a specialist has held certification for 20, 30, or 40 years. This was discontinued in 2017, so staff is currently looking at specialists who reached those anniversaries in the years since. Staff believes that pins were a great way to recognize specialists and previously helped us retain specialist participation by encouraging specialists to continue the program and reach those specific milestones. Pins are expected to be issued annually in the fall-winter season. Apart from this, staff will continue to explore other opportunities to procure and retain specialists. And this concludes the work plan updates.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Next, we're going to have the update on the 2023 legal specialization budget reserve spend down initiatives. Adrian, back to you.
Of course. So if the CBLS remembers, at the December meeting, the CBLS voted and approved to delegate the authority to Jake to review and finalize spend down plan with staff. So staff was able to meet with Jake and he did approve that spend down plan. It's a partial spend down beginning in 2023 and also get us to seek a waiver from the State Bar Reserve policy. We are hoping that this will go to the May Board of Trustees meeting for final approval.
Okay. And then Michael, just historically, so you get caught up, the reason we have Jake taking that lead is all the rest of the specialists, we would be conflicted out as it affects us. So Jake, as our public member, is taking the lead on that.
Oh, thank you for the assistance.
Okay.
You're welcome, sir.
Item D, recent developments. For that, we turn to Audrey.
Good afternoon, everyone. The first item I'd like to talk about was the February 2022 California bar exam. So we had the February 2022 California bar exam on Tuesday, February 22nd and Wednesday, February 23rd. We did have a small number of applicants testing over extended days. Accommodated applicants were testing longer than that period. This was our first return to an in-person exam in 2 years. The applicants were wonderful at following all our communications around proof of entry to the exam. We had different vaccination requirements, COVID testing, masking that we added to the check-in process. We had extra staff from volunteers from the State Bar helping with that. And obviously the Office of Admissions worked really hard to get all those procedures in place for our return to in-person. We had approved exactly 3,870 applicants for that exam, and total in attendance were 3,450. We're gearing up for the July bar exam, which is also scheduled for in-person. And in between, we have the first year law students exam in June, which is scheduled to be another remote administration. So that's sort of my exam report. Some recent developments in legal specialization. We have partnered with Arise High School, which is a high school in Oakland, to have an intern, a high school intern, to help research and reach out to specialists. You'll remember in our last CBLS meeting, we talked about whether or not that was a possibility. And since then, we have partnered with the high school and have an intern to help us reach out to specialists. We began our monthly electronic annual fee and legal specialist CLE reminders, along with the physical letters and the phone calls. This has been very successful. Just to give you kind of a data point, 129 pending for the annual fee as of March 1st, and same time last year there was 175 pending, so the efforts seem to be working. And then for legal specialist CLE, we have 431 pending as of March 1st, and same time last year we had 643 pending. So the increase in these reminders seem to be working. Staff will be sending the first of its new quarterly emails at the end of this month, so look forward to getting that in your inbox. We have topics related to general maintenance requirements, program administration, and special opportunities to provide pro bono work to the public. My last point here is about agency billing, another item that we've talked about at a recent CBLS meeting is to reach out to office administrators, those administrators and firms and agencies who pay for licensees, to include those contacts when we send legal specialization program annual fee payment reminders. Those are my recent updates.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions from the crew? See no hands being raised. I guess that does it for our updates here. And with that, we're going to move on to part 4, which is our business portion of the meeting. And for that, we have a review of the report on financial and operational key indicators. Audrey, this is on your watch.
More from me. So we're looking at the attachments A, B, C, D, and E on that item. So looking at attachment A, we have just the legal specialization portion of the State Bar 2022 final budget as reviewed and approved by the Board of Trustees. We have a small revenue projection over, a small revenue increase over what was projected, a 5.8% increase over what had been projected. And then our year-end expenses are almost 50% under budget, but we do have additional expenses coming through at the end of the year related to exam development, grading, our exam administration, and our consultants. The 2021 year-end close is still pending, but we are projected for a net increase of $681,533. So that's sort of a review of attachment A.
So if I'm reading the budget right for 2021 last year, it looks like we have another positive 681. Is that right?
Yes,
Our projection.
that's right.
But the following year we're down to only 84,000 if we stay on budget. Is that right?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at attachment A.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we took 2021 into consideration when we created the 2022 to get closer to being even, not necessarily
Right.
having a, yeah, so.
Got no problem with being even as long as we've got a reserve in case something negative happens.
Correct.
Basic business 101, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is that second page on attachment A showing that difference from 21 to 22.
And then on the first page, and again, just for historical information for Michael, we see up in the years 2020, 21, 22, that $100,000, that's the loan payback to the specialization from the State Bar. Is that right?
Where it says transfer
That
in.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And it's to the Office of Admissions.
Got it.
Mhm.
Great. Thanks, Audrey.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going on. So we're looking at a new metric, legal specialization program annual fee. 2022 annual fee billing began on December 1st. And since opening, we've been sending monthly reminders to specialists who have not yet remitted, not yet paid their legal specialist annual fee. 2022 legal specialization program annual fee was due February 1st. Specialists who since then have not remitted their fees have been assessed a $75 late fee. As of March 1st, we have 129 specialists pending. That's, again, year over year, better than where we were March 1st in the prior year. And staff are continuing to send monthly reminders to specialists who have a balance toward their legal specialist annual fee. Okay, now I'm going to move on to attachment B, number of specialists. So we have a decrease from a year ago, 85. Only one specialty area, immigration, saw an increase of 3. There was no change on franchise, and then all other areas saw a decrease. Attachment C looks at resignations, 77 resignations through March 1st. Nearly half of those, 32, are due to retirement, 3 to training experience, 17 to practice change, 3 for fee complaints, and then 22 list other reasons. We do expect through this year to have more resignations, but based on the current pattern, the numbers of this year seem to be consistent with the prior years. Looking at attachment D, our group 2 of legal specialization education compliance reporting ended February 1st. To ensure that we're enforcing our own rules, staff provides a recommendation for revocations later in this meeting. Attachment E is group 1. So group 1 compliance reporting opened December 1st, 2021, and was due February 1st, 22. 1,764 specialists in group 1 when reporting open. That's now been extended to June 30th. We have 431 pending. Again, as I said, in recent developments due to our outreach, that's a much better number than where we were year over year, where at the same time last year we had 643 pending. So our reminders seem to be working. We're going to keep sending those monthly reminders to specialists who have not yet reported their legal specialization CLE. And those are all the key indicators from me.
Okay, thank you, Audrey.
Thanks.
Next up is Luttrell with the review of report on initial certification application statuses.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So in order to receive certification, applicants must first take and pass the legal specialist exam. Then they are eligible to submit their post-examination application for initial certification. Pursuant to Rule 3.110, the application or a request for extension must be submitted within 18 months of the exam. Extensions may be granted for an additional 18 months. 3 additional months have historically been added to recognize that many new attorneys who pass the bar examination in November begin their actual practice in January. In total, applicants receive 3 years and 3 months to apply. Those who passed the 2019 examination had up to April 2021 to file an application or request an extension, attachment B. 382 passed, and 72% filed an application, which is 275 applications submitted. Estate and Family received most applications for 2019 passers, 165 for both. Of the remaining candidates, 107, 49 have requested an extension. Although the April deadline has passed, staff continue to accept applications or extensions requests through final filing deadline, January 2023. And the most common reason for extension is to reach the 5-year practice requirement.
Okay, thank you, Luttrell. Next up, we have a review of a report on administration of the 2021 legal specialist examination. And for that, we turn to Janice.
Hello. So the exam was held largely remotely on Tuesday, October 26th. There were a few changes because of the remote exam. Essays were administered over 4 one-hour sittings with 2 essay questions for each hour. Multiple choice questions were administered as 38 questions over 76 minutes and 37 questions over 74 minutes. There were a total of 589 registrations and 456 applicants sat for the entire exam with at least one in each specialty area. The results were released Friday, March 11th, and 329 applicants passed, and the overall pass rate across all exams was 72.1%. Staff is expecting to send a post-exam questionnaire shortly, and we hope to have the responses back in time for the June meeting. We will be discussing the appeal process later as part of item 4G, and the psychometrician's report will be reviewed by CBLS at the next meeting. And a note is, next exam is scheduled for October 2023. That concludes this report.
Great. Thank you, Janice. Next up, item D, which is the always loved for the last several meetings, approval of certification revocations for failure to recertify. This has been continued over a couple different times, and so we're hoping we've made some progress. Adrian, can you report?
Of course. So specialists are required to report compliance with the tasking experience and reference requirements by recertifying every 5 years. We do have reminders that are automatically sent through the admissions applicant portal email system. Those notifications are sent 6 months prior, 60 days prior, 30 days prior, and then 7 days after a specialist certification term end date. And then staff, we also now manually send a 30-day late reminder through the state bar email notification service. And then we also send another email that's 60 days late, as well as adding a physical letter through the United States Postal Service. So we do have 91 specialists who are overdue for their recertification through December 1st. The table on the agenda item provides a breakdown of those specialists by specialty area. All of the overdue specialists have received the 60-day late notice that was sent through email and through the physical notice. So they were given that and also given at least 30 days to respond. Those specialists that were continued from the previous meeting, they've also received an additional electronic and physical notice as well. Consistent with past action and in line with compliance of the legal specialization rules, if the CBLS approves, staff, we can send another paper physical letter as well as an electronic letter through the State Bar's email service, informing the specialist that revocation is final if recertification is not received within 30 days of the letter. So we would send notice and then allow the specialist 30 days to respond, or then revocation would be final. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I will simply chime in here. Having seen this list a few days earlier, I randomly probably sent emails to 10 to 15 folks that are on this list. For the first time in the last couple of meetings, not a single one of them said, I haven't received communications from the State Bar. So the outreach that staff has done since this has been on the agenda last year has worked. Now, they haven't all gotten their paperwork done, but they clearly have been reaching out. The only update I would say is I know that this list that we're looking at here says through December 1, 2021. Some of these folks have already submitted their paperwork. And so even if we were voting today to say, yes, send that revocation, if you guys are going to update this list based upon everything that's happened since December 1st of 2021, is that right?
Correct. Sorry, and I should have said that too. So because we do have to prepare the materials in advance of a meeting. So this list may not be current as of today. So if the CBLS does agree and vote to approve on the revocations, we would update the list as of the date of mailing. So we would look at it one more time and remove any of the specialists who have already reached out whether to get an extension or if they've already recertified. So we'll be sure to remove those specialists.
Right. So for instance, I knew Tina Oren, who's an appellate law specialist on this list. She's already been in contact with State Bar since and is working on the paperwork. So I applaud staff's efforts to solve what clearly had been a communication problem earlier. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Adrian, I was just going to ask, so for those who are given the revocation notice, they will have an opportunity once they get that notice to fix it well. Is that right?
Correct. They'll have 30 days to at least let us know maybe if they intend to let it lapse or if they're intending to actually recertify. And then if they do intend to recertify, we'd consider on a case-by-case basis extensions, giving them time to do it so that they don't necessarily have to do it right there on the spot.
Norma, did you have any questions?
Yes, I know that this was from December, just a general idea of the difference in numbers since then with any updates that you have? As far as I think it was 93. The 91 certified specialists that had failed to submit since then.
I'm going to pull up the numbers from the last meeting. The only thing from the last meeting is they would have been through September. So while there were people who dropped off from that list, we added people since, because now this is list now through December.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, give me 1 second. I have that number right here. There were 68 at the last meeting. But once again, because that number was through September 1st, and now we're through December 1st, there are additional specialists now.
Thank you.
So then the motion that we would be looking at today, the motion to move the certification records of those certified specialists listed in attachment A are closed, and these specialists be sent notice by email and physical letter that their certificate of specialization is revoked if their recertification is not received within 30 days of the letter. And do I have anybody who's going to make that motion?
This is Natalie. I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Vance. Any second?
Norma, I'll second.
Second by Acosta. Adrian, if you would be kind enough to call roll, please.
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon. One more for Yoon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Thanks, Jake. That is enough votes. This motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. Next up is the approval of the annual certification revocations for failure to report. Group 2, 2021 Legal Specialist Continuing Education Compliance. And for that, we turn to Latrell.
Specialists are required to report compliance of 36 hours of LSCLE in their specialty area every 3 years, which is due at the same time as their general MCLE compliance. This was due February 1st, 2021, and any specialist pending MCLE/LSCLE could submit as late as June 30th, 2021, with payment of a late fee for MCLE reporting. The table in the agenda item provides a breakdown of specialists by specialty area, and the attachment lists specific individuals. So in November 2021, In November 2021, staff sent both an electronic letter and physical letter via USPS, and those letters were sent again in January 2022. Between November 2021 and January 2022, staff spoke to or left messages for any specialists with overdue 2021 LSCLE compliance, which is far above communications used for general license requirement notices. There are 78 specialists with overdue 2021 LSCLE compliance, which is down from 119 at the last meeting and 457 at the meeting before that. Consistent with past action / legal specialization rules to send notice of revocation, in 2020, 94 were recommended, 2019, 107 were recommended, and in 2018, 37 recommended. Staff will send final paper and electronic notice through State Bar email service that revocation is final if LSCLE is not received in 30 days of letter. Rule 3.124 allows 30 days to respond to any notice of revocation.
Okay. Much like the last list of folks, also this week, I did another random to about 10 or so on this list. Again, I'm pleased to report not a single a person who responded to those emails said, I haven't received contact from the State Bar. So again, you guys are doing a great job of reaching out and making contact with these folks. I'm much more satisfied than we were a couple of meetings back. So, and as I understand it, they're reaching out to the State Bar requesting extensions of time if they need it, and those are being routinely granted. So it's up to them to get it done, but it's not for lack of notice for sure. Okay, with that, then with the motion for consideration here would be to move that the certification records of those certified specialists listed in attachment A are closed, and these specialists be sent notice by email and physical letter that their certificate of specialization is revoked if their LSCLE compliance is not received within 30 days of the letter. Do I have a member to make that motion?
This is Natalie. I will make that motion.
The motion is made by Vance. Do I have a second?
This is Norma, I'll second.
Second by Acosta. Adrian, if you would please take roll.
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon. One more for Yoon.
Yes.
Thank you, Jake. That is enough votes. This motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. And everybody's doing such a wonderful job of putting themselves on mute. We don't have anybody talking over each other. This is great. Okay, on to item F, and this is the approval of, is that right? Yeah, approval of annual fee waiver for specialists who are enrolled in the State Bar Pro Bono practice program. Adrian, if you take us your report.
Of course. So for this item, I just wanted to note that the mission of the State Bar includes support for greater access to the legal system. One ways to increase access to legal services, the State Bar encourages attorneys to perform pro bono work. And one of those programs is the State Bar Pro Bono practice program. The State Bar will waive the active license fee for eligible attorneys who do pro bono work under this practice program. Those attorneys are who would otherwise be inactive if they agree to provide pro bono services through specified legal service providers. This item, it seeks to similarly waive the legal specialization program annual fee for any specialists who enroll in this program. For some additional background, participants in this program, they must be licensed in good standing with no disciplinary charges pending. At the time of application, have been admitted to the practice of law in California for at least 3 years. have practiced law or served as a judge in California for at least 3 of the last 5 years, have no record of public discipline during the 3 years preceding the application, and be certified by the state bar as a pro bono practice attorney. We currently have 2 active certified specialists enrolled in this program right now. We do believe that providing this waiver, it may encourage participation, and the amount of staff time required to implement this is each year is minimal. We do recommend granting a waiver of the legal specialization program annual fee each year. A specialist is enrolled in this pro bono practice program. Does anyone have any questions regarding this at all?
What's the area of specialization for our 2 pro bono attorneys?
I believe they're both family.
Any other questions? All right, then the proposed motion would be to move that the California Board of Legal Specialization grant a waiver of the legal specialization program annual fee for each specialist enrolled in the pro bono practice program, and continuing that waiver as long as the specialist remains enrolled in the program. Do I have a motion by one of our members?
This is Norma. Motion to approve.
Motion made by Acosta. Do I have a second?
This is Natalie Vance. I'll second.
Everybody was racing it. Vance, I think you get it. Seconded by Vance. If you would call the roll, Adrian.
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon.
Yes.
Thank you. That is enough votes. This motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Now, this should be an interesting discussion piece. G, discussion on the procedure to review legal specialist examination notice of violation of examination rules or policy appeals, or rules or policies and the appeals therefrom. Okay, Adrian.
Of course. So some background on this item. Administering the first remote legal specialist exam, it came with its own unique set of processes that included new or different set of security concerns. Due to this, we applied similar rules and guidelines used for the remote first year exam, as well as on the bar exams that came before our exam. Applicants were given rules and guidelines as part of their signed declaration, and it was also included in their admittance ticket bulletin. Let me just pull up the declaration. Some notable requirements. This is just the acknowledgement that they have carefully read the instructions for taking the exam.
And when is this declaration made? Is it on the day of the exam? Is it prior to the exam?
It's included as part of the exam registration when they signed up for the exam. And then
Okay.
also we included the same information in the admittance ticket bulletin that went out, I believe it was early in the month of October.
Okay,
Another one
and then is there a reminder of this as they're sitting down to take the exam or other refresher?
I'd have to go back. I know we provided a YouTube video as well, but I'd have to go back and review. I don't know, Audrey, if you remember that off the top of your head.
Well, I did the YouTube video, and it's not word for word about everything that's allowed in the and not allowed in the exam. And it wasn't mandatory to watch, and there's not another reminder. They can start the exam without having another reminder. The reminders were in the application and in their admittance ticket bulletin.
Another one, applicants must take the exam on a laptop computer with a functional internal web camera and microphone. Following conduct is prohibited: leaving view of the camera outside of scheduled breaks, any attempt to bypass or avoid the remote proctoring mechanisms, individuals other than the applicant coming into the exam room, having cell phones or other electronic devices in the exam room, including a tablet or additional computers or monitors, having food or beverages in the exam room, having any items in the exam room other than the allowed items listed in the admittance ticket bulletin.
No smoking in their own environment, huh? Wow.
Having radios, stereos, or other devices, equipment in the exam room that can make audible sounds. And then also that they must acknowledge receipt and understanding of the above by signing. And then they do sign on the bottom. So ensuring that the same level of test security was maintained for the remote exam as that of as an in-person exam, applicants, they were required to accept the testing conditions that included measures such as not leaving the view of their camera or keeping their microphone or webcams on. Applicants were recorded during the exam, and potential violations, electronic devices, unauthorized items, food, water, were identified first by artificial intelligence, and then it was reviewed by a live proctor. Videos that were flagged as reflecting potential violations underwent 3 levels of human review. If staff concluded the video identified a violation by clear and convincing evidence, applicants were issued a notice of violation and allowed to respond before a final review to affirm or not affirm the violation was complete. Management admissions then reviewed each notice and the response, if any, from the applicant. Applicants with an affirmed violation, then received sanctions similar to those applied for similar violations on the first year or the bar exam. And you know what, let me just show some examples of that. Possession of an electronic device, received a score of 0. It is eligible for appeal. All the violations identified are appealable. Bringing unauthorized items into the room for a first-time offense, the notice of violation, they received a warning and the sanction was not affirmed. Individuals other than the applicant entering the room receive a score of 0. Having food or beverages, first-time offense, they would get a warning, but they'd be advised to follow the rules for any subsequent exams as well. Once again, any applicants that did receive an affirmed notice, they may request an appeal before any sanction becomes final, and appeals would be presented to the CBLS for their review and consideration. Those who request an appeal, they will be given the relevant portions of any video or evidence that was relied upon to reach the affirmation decision. To ensure that we're complying with Bagley-Keene and other state bar sub-entity policies, appeals will be agendized and conducted in closed session at a regularly scheduled meeting. Tentatively, we're looking at applicants. They may attend to explain their case, or alternatively submit a written statement. We must ensure that we are being fair and consistent in reviewing violations and appeals. Applicants with an affirmed violation, they will have until March 28th to submit a request for an appeal. And then once again, the expectation is that the CBLS will be reviewing appeals. Tentatively, we're looking at the June meeting. Before that, staff will ask each member of the CBLS to identify any potential conflicts, knowing or working with the applicant. And we'll also include our general counsel as necessary to determine the need for recusal. Pending further discussion, for those that are attending in person, they will be given time to present. CBLS may then ask questions. Applicants will be given an opportunity to give a final statement. And then the CBLS may then confer and vote on a final decision. For those who provide a written statement, the CBLS can review and discuss before voting on a final decision. And then the CBLS will have final say of whether the violation will be upheld or what sanctions will be applied. Anyone have any questions?
Do we have any idea what the numbers of violations are that we might be looking at?
Can I say that publicly, Gene? Are we allowed to share that?
I don't see why we're not
Okay.
giving any applicants
Right.
individual
No, I'm just
information.
thinking numbers.
Yeah.
11 went out.
Okay.
11 affirmation.
11 possible appeals.
Yeah.
Right.
11 affirmation letters went out.
And of those 11, do we know that whether or not all of them would have passed but for this violation? Or is it's possible that they received this notice of the violation and even if it were correct, that they wouldn't pass?
It was a combination within that 11, but the applicant was, they were informed of that.
The applicant was informed, Mark, I think, Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong on this, whether the violation would have changed the outcome of their results.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those applicants, so there was a mixture, and we did notify and inform the applicants if any sanctions would have changed the overall result of their exam.
So then theoretically, if somebody's appealing, they're appealing because they've got notice that there is a potential violation. But if this violation were overturned, you would have received a passing grade. Is that right?
No.
No.
Well, I think this is it. It's not whether the violation happened. We're affirming that the violation happened, but they have an opportunity to appeal that. But they were also told that other part, which is whether that violation impacted their potential to pass the exam or not.
Got it.
Mhm.
So if it didn't impact, then if it didn't impact, so I guess if they receive notice that they didn't pass because there's a violation here, is it reasonable for them to assume if they appeal this violation that there would be a different outcome and they could have passed?
Yes, that's a possibility.
Possibility, but not a certainty.
Yes, it's contingent on the determination of the appeal, like the outcome of that appeal.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
I may point out too, so out of the 11, even if it wouldn't have changed the overall outcome, they may appeal as well. They may want to see what their score would have been had they not been sanctioned. So I mean, technically,
well, that's true. Right. Yeah.
We may expect as many as the 11.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I think that we'll move forward with this plan tentatively. We did provide applicants with a frequently asked questions list. We'll update that list and re-provide that to any applicants that are requesting appeals. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. I think with that, this is the end of our open session. Is that right, Adrian? So now, Michael, here's what we do. So we keep the open session open because we're going to have to close it. But now we leave here. We go to the closed session. You should have a separate link for that. We'll go through our closed session items, and then we will finish up the closed session, come back here to the open session, and close that out. So just giving you that roadmap.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mark. So go through, and I assume there's probably an email from you, Adrian, on how to click into the closed session.
I sent it earlier this morning. I can resend
Oh,
it.
that actually, I must have it.
Same email that you got this morning has both of the links there.
Great, very good.
Okay, and with that, we will move on over to our closed session.
Did you want to just jump in? Did anyone need to take a bio
Yeah,
break or
I
anything?
mean, we're ahead of time, but if anybody would like to have a 5 or 10 minute break, let's take it and go grab something to drink or whatever. Anybody want a 5 or 10 minute break?
Um, 5 or 10 minute break sounds good to me. I've got one thing I need to take care of real quick.
Perfect. So I show it's 3:30. Shall we reconvene at 3:40 then, Adrian? Does that work?
Sounds good.
Sounds
3:40
good.
It is. We'll see everybody then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. The only one I see that we don't have on here yet is Jeff. No, there he is.
There he is.
Brilliant.
A little
All
slow,
right.
but I'm here.
Okay, and with that, I get to announce the end of the open and closed items on our agenda for today. There was nothing over in that closed session that needs to be reported here in the open session. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your Friday afternoon to join us. We appreciate your time, your input, and your dedication to the program. With that, I will call the meeting adjourned here in March, and we will see everybody in June. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Friday,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good weekend.
Take care all.
Good job.